Belal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards is confirmed to be the next fight for the welterweight title. We also got a rumored matchup between Arman Tsarukyan and Charles Oliveira that is most likely a number one contenders match. So we're going to talk about all that a little bit more in this video. And before I get started, please consider a like, comment, subscribe. Really helps me in the algorithm. With that out of the way, let's get started. I want to start talking about this Belal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards fight, because I posted on my TikTok, and I kind of wanted to know what does like the general public think about this fight. What does the MMA fan base think of this fight? And it's pretty unanimous. People are not happy with this fight, but at the same time they understand why this has to take place. If you want to continue calling UFC a sports organization and not just an entertainment business, you really can't deny Belal Muhammad. I know that sounds preachy, and I hate when Belal Muhammad fans, yes, there are a few of them, say that the reason that Belal Muhammad hasn't been able to get a title shot is because Leon Edwards and the UFC are scared that Belal Muhammad is going to win the title. Understand that they're not scared of him because Leon is not sweating Belal Muhammad in the way that he feels like he's going to lose his title to him. That would suck. Do not get me wrong. But the reason they went with Colby Covington is because Colby Covington sells so much better than Belal. The head coach of Leon Edwards, and I believe even Leon Edwards himself, it was either one of the two of them or both of them, said they wanted Gilbert Burns because Gilbert Burns brings more to the table than Belal Muhammad. And that's right if you look at it a certain way, but most of the times that's just wrong. How he meant it is Gilbert Burns versus Leon Edwards just sells better. It does. He brings more pay-per-views to the table. That is not a wrong statement. Belal Muhammad probably has the most tragic problem with him of all MMA fighters. It is better to be hated in a business where you are paid a percentage of people that want to watch you than it is to be indifferent to the fan base. Everybody that I have talked to about this fight happening, they are completely and utterly indifferent to Belal Muhammad. The main reaction that we get to people who hear about this fight is, well, yeah, he has to fight him. For reference, when people heard that Colby Covington was going to fight Leon Edwards no matter what, the reaction was, yeah, he doesn't deserve it. Yeah, that's Dana White privilege, but it's Colby Covington fighting Leon Edwards. You see the difference here. We all unanimously agree that Belal Muhammad deserves the fight for the title next over anybody else, and I do mean Savkat, but we'll get to who I believe Savkat's fighting in a minute. We all know Belal Muhammad deserves it. If meritocracy is a thing in the UFC, which I hope it is, because that's what this sport was built on in the beginning, the best guys fight the best guys. Belal Muhammad is one of the clearest number one contenders in the history of the UFC, rivaling Leon Edwards when he was the number one contender, and they didn't want him to fight for the title. So we have to get this done. Understand that the pros of this fight are not crazy pros. The pros are, if Belal Muhammad loses to Leon Edwards, that is the last title fight that he'll ever get. I almost guarantee it. Bro will have to go on another 8-fight winning streak. And part of it is it's the way he fights. It is hard to market. It is crazy to me that they threatened to cut Colby Covington for fighting the exact same way, but Belal Muhammad just stays in the UFC because he keeps winning. That's something that needs to be talked about. People will compare Belal Muhammad and Colby Covington, well, they fight similar, but Colby gets so much more praise because of Dana White privilege. No, because people love to hate the guy. Belal Muhammad is, for as good as he is unbelievably irrelevant. That is the problem. And I think that is one of the roughest problems that you can have in an entertainment industry / sport. And honestly, I respect Belal in the way that he's not taking the Colby Covington route and sacrificing who he is as a person to entertain the fans, but understand that, like, my respect goes so far. Like, now it's starting to turn in the pity because I know if you lose, you're not getting another title shot. And I feel like Belal does have a decent chance at winning. I would argue Belal Muhammad has a better chance at beating Leon than Colby ever did. I still believe Leon's going to win, but I feel like the way that we're thinking about this fight, we're thinking that Leon is going to absolutely thrash Belal Muhammad. But I feel like Belal has that underdog energy that I think a lot of people might be surprised. So, like, for that reason, if it comes out Leon is like a crazy, overwhelming favorite, I'm going to be putting money on Belal purely because if he does win, I want to cushion the blow because it's going to be hard making content on Belal Muhammad as champion. Now, where do we put this fight? That's another question I asked. Where do you even put this fight on a card? Leon Edwards wants to go back to England. Belal Muhammad doesn't really get a say. I think England is a good route. The problem is that means we're going to be pushing this back to the later part of the year. Like, we're talking, it would have to be like 301 and after, because please do not put this on UFC 300. Because the problem is you might actually have to put this on the main card if you do it, because at the end of the day, it is a title. Although it would be hilarious that if they put it on the prelims of UFC 300, honestly, when we're looking at the bangers that are coming out for that card, it's still kind of a letdown. The UFC wants to recoup an investment on this card. They want to generate interest. They want to sell out an arena with this card. How do you do that? In my mind, what you have to do is you either got to make this in Abu Dhabi, which would work. You can make a good Abu Dhabi card. Or you do this in England. The problem with England is you're relying on Leon Edwards and really Paddy Pimblett unless you can sway Tom Aspinall. And I don't know if those three sell a card with Belal Muhammad being the challenger. With Abu Dhabi, people in Abu Dhabi will buy the card either way. But they're looking at the marquee and are like, okay, we have Belal Muhammad. Okay, fuck everybody else. We're going to watch this fight. So I have a feeling this could be on Abu Dhabi with Islam Makhachev defending against Justin Gaethje. That's a decent card. Like, I would say that's a good, like, high C tier, maybe even a low B tier card. The next fight that I want to talk about is Arman Tsarukyan versus Charles Oliveira, being rumored for UFC 300. Now, admittedly, the proof for this is relatively weak and mainly circumstantial. Arman Tsarukyan and Charles Oliveira have something that goes on social media hinting that they have a fight announcement coming out near the same time. Like, they post this near the same time. And the fact is there isn't a lot of people at lightweight that you can logically put those two fighters against outside of Arman fighting Charles and Charles fighting either Arman Tsarukyan or Gamrot. And I don't know about you, if this is going on UFC 300, respectfully, Gamrot does not fight on this card. I would much rather see Arman Tsarukyan versus Charles Oliveira. And look at the reason for why you would make this fight. Charles Oliveira has to prove to Islam Makhachev that he is worthy for fighting for the title again. And I understand why Islam is doing this, because Islam's already beat Charles. I understand this. But Charles, to prove this, has to beat somebody that Islam beat better than he did. I know it's weird fighter math, but, like, it makes sense in fight promotion. Like fighting algebra, like fighting math are a real thing only in fight promotion. So Charles is looking at Arman Tsarukyan. If they are fighting, this is how I imagine this is going through. Charles looks at Arman Tsarukyan. Arman is one of the few people ever to take Islam Makhachev to a decision. Was it a loss? Yeah. But Charles loses to Islam Makhachev. Islam beat them both. On paper, as crazy as it sounds, if we're looking at who fought who did better, technically Arman Tsarukyan did better against Islam than Charles did. So Charles, to prove that he is worthy to fight Islam, all he has to do is finish Arman Tsarukyan. For Arman to earn a title shot, all he has to do is beat the number one contender. Like, I think Arman was being a little bit of a crybaby for apparently threatening retirement if he was not given an immediate title shot, because, brother, you are 26 years old. Like, you are unbelievably talented. There is no reason to be throwing your career down the drain and risking it on a PR stunt. So Arman Tsarukyan beating Charles Oliveira, you're next for the title shot. Undeniable. And that's why I believe that fight will happen. I like it on UFC 300. Honestly, if UFC 300 is going to be crazy, don't put it on the main card. It's a good prelims. But if UFC 300 is going to be mid, then yeah, put it on the main card. That's a solid fight. I don't know why people are knocking it. Charles Oliveira is gonna be a good fight. Like $50,000 fight of the night bonus. I almost guarantee it. The last thing that I want to talk about, this is not a confirmed fight by any means. However, this is speculatory. So if you look at the top 5 of welterweight, you have, I'm naming this off the top of my head, but in the top 5, you got Gilbert Burns, Colby Covington. This is not in order. This is just me rambling. Gilbert Burns, Colby Covington, Shavkat Rakhmonov, Belal Muhammad, Kamaru Usman, and then we count the champion, Leon Edwards. That's strange to me, because Kamaru Usman's last win was to Colby Covington, 2 losses to Leon Edwards, and a loss to Khamzat Chimaev at 180 pounds. Not even this division. I would have thought that if we're going to put him anywhere, put him in 180. So, what are we doing here? Why do I think this is a real thing? So let's go through the top 5 of who they're either thought to be fighting or who they are fighting. Gilbert Burns is fighting Jack Della Maddalena. Okay, he's booked. Colby Covington is rumored to be fighting Wonderboy. I think the UFC is going to be making that fight. Leon Edwards is fighting Belal Muhammad. They're booked up, so that leaves Kamaru Usman and Shavkat Rakhmonov. Shavkat, and the reason why I believe they're going with Belal Muhammad and have kind of just made it official is because now they can't even really argue Shavkat, and they can't argue a number 1 contenders match because Belal deserved it regardless, and Shavkat broke his ankle before the Wonderboy fight and is getting a surgery done on it, so he's going to be out for a while. I think what they're going to do is a number 1 contenders match between a returning Kamaru Usman against a recovered Shavkat Rakhmonov. I would probably say near the end of the year. I can even see them putting that on Abu Dhabi in October. That'd be pretty fun. They would both sell pretty well in Abu Dhabi. And it would help that snoozer of a Belal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards card if you're going to put it on the same card and make this a number 1 contenders match. And make it 5 rounds, because Kamaru has said that he will never fight a 3-round fight for the remainder of his career. I think that's a very sensible thing to do if you are Kamaru Usman and have that 5-round experience over these contenders. Use the advantages that you have. This is a good challenge for Shavkat, but I do believe Shavkat wins, and I think he finishes Kamaru. Because what Kamaru was having trouble with fighting against Leon Edwards was, 1, he couldn't get him to the ground, not in the second fight, rarely. And that wasn't at elevation. Abu Dhabi's not at elevation. So he's not going to have that. Second thing, Leon Edwards is extremely good at maintaining distance. And when they get into the pocket, he'll clinch, knee to the body. And on the separation, he's hitting elbows. The problem with that, and this is MMA algebra right here, Shavkat Rakhmonov does that, but better than Leon. I'm not saying Shavkat's automatically better than Leon Edwards. No. I'm saying in that aspect of the game, Shavkat is better at utilizing the clinch to manage distance and exiting with knees and elbows. He is extremely good at that. And for that reason, I think Shavkat gets it done inside of 3 rounds, and the championship rounds I don't even think are really going to be taking effect. And the 100% finish rate is going to keep up. The UFC is going to market the 100% finish rate, the promos of him submitting Wonderboy for the first time in his career, the promo of him beating Kamaru Usman, the strangle of Jeff Neal. These are all going to be in the promo, I guarantee it. And what I think, the call out for Leon Edwards right after his number 1 contenders match, and then you make the fight between either Leon Edwards, Belal Muhammad, between Shavkat Rakhmonov. That's what I think they're going to do. That's my huge speculation over how Shavkat's going to become a champion in 2024 or his pathway to do so. And I believe that's going to be it for the video. If you enjoy this content, please consider a like, comment, subscribe. We have grown like crazy over this month. We started this month with a little beneath 500 subscribers. Now we're talking about 2.2 thousand subscribers. I cannot begin to thank you enough. I have a bunch of other videos planned before the new year. Part 2 of the MMA Iceberg, I believe, is next. But there's a lot of concepts that are pretty abstract, and I kind of have to phrase them in a way that doesn't get me demonetized. Yeah, we're gonna get pretty dark in that series pretty soon, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And with that out of the way, adios, guys.